All right, hello. My name is Dustin Marshall. Pleasure to be here. This is a song I wrote maybe a few months ago. It's called "Maybe I'm Bad." It's kind of a sad song, but it's what I was feeling at the time, so I'll let it rip. It always seems I'm only seen when you're looking at me. I am the tree at the mercy of the breeze. I've lost all my leaves. Say the wrong thing, only letting you down. Maybe I'm just mad, I'm letting go of all that we had. Maybe I'm just bad. My thoughts could stay still if I could talk like you do. Would you want me around? On his face praying that's what you would need. You're not looking at me, and I wouldn't fault you. Maybe I'm just bad.
Yes, indeed, everybody. You just heard from Dustin Marshall. Welcome, my friend, for episode number 32 of The Tasty Twist with Sammy B. I am your host, local musician, producer of the show here out of Ludlow, Vermont at Okemo Valley TV. Thank you, Rebecca and Patrick. As always, it's hard to believe 30-plus episodes in. It's a little cooler today than what it has been the last couple of days in October, as winter is right around the corner. So, Dustin Marshall from Canaan, New Hampshire,
Yes,
correct?
sir.
Yeah,
That's right.
awesome.
Yep.
How long have you been playing?
I've been playing for about 19 years.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, I started as an adult. Started when I was 20.
Was there like an aha moment as like a teenager where you said, hey, the guitar or an instrument looks cool, I want to give it a shot?
So honestly, it was like as a kid, I'd say junior high, like once you start getting into music, like
Yeah.
those vital ages, I remember getting a Motley. My first tape was a Motley Crue. It was Dr. Feelgood.
Dr. Feelgood,
cassette tape. My brother had it. We listened to it constantly, and then it was like right around the time for the CD shift. Mm-hmm. So we were getting CDs now, and then it was like Iron Maiden, heavy metal, and just listening to music, loving it. And eventually, I'm just like, I
what was it about that? What was
it
it about that type of music that really caught your ear? Was it the drumming? Was it the 80s sounding guitar riffs? Like, what was it that like, or was it just listening to like top 40s hits on like the radio?
Honestly, I mean, it wasn't even that specific. It was what was around. It was the only music I really heard because see, I have 3 older brothers, so they were like listening to Black Sabbath, Pearl Jam, and Iron Maiden, Led Zeppelin, all that stuff. So I didn't even know what else was out there, really.
All good references right there, by the way. Too.
Yeah, so I mean, that was kind of like the foundation. Yeah. And then, eventually as I kind of like grew older and split off, kind of became more of an individual, you know.
Are you self-taught?
So when I started playing, I took guitar lessons for like maybe 6 months just to get like the basics down, some good fundamentals.
Sure.
And then it was also like I lucked out too because it was the dawn of YouTube.
Yeah.
And the internet. So like YouTube had just kind of come out. So I'm like, okay, I can go on here and learn some.
Isn't that crazy? When did it actually come out? 2003 or 4? Somewhere around that
sounds,
time. Sounds about right. Same time as MySpace. Remember Tom?
I do.
Tom from MySpace.
I do remember Tom, yeah. I wonder what he's up to these days.
It looks like he probably still has the same smile. His face pops up on a meme on Facebook or Instagram every once in a while. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. And so did you start an electric guitar or acoustic guitar?
I started acoustic. Actually, honestly, like I've just recently been I bought a Les Paul maybe 2 months ago and have just finally been getting into like electric and really kind of dedicating to it. I'm loving it.
Awesome. So, who are some of your favorite guitar players and musicians in general these days?
I love Derek Trucks. Oh, yes. I love Derek Trucks. He's probably my number one.
I gotta give you a fist bump, man. My man.
Yeah, he's insane. I just love his.
Shout out to Derek and Susan, man. Tedeschi Trucks.
They're insane. I haven't gotten a chance to see them live yet, but I watch all their live videos. I'll put them on in the background.
Yeah. So I have to ask because this tugs at a knot in my soul. Did you grow up idolizing the Allman Brothers post Sticky Bets, like when Warren Haynes came back and it was Derek and Warren for like the last 13 years?
Honestly, like the Derek Truck, when I think of Derek Trucks, I think of Tedeschi Trucks Band. Mm-hmm. I don't even think, I love Allman Brothers, the old 70s and,
a lot of the original members of Tedeschi Trucks Band were from his old band, the Derek Trucks Band.
Oh, really?
Before him and his wife, Susan Tedeschi, formed Tedeschi Trucks Band in 2010. Yeah. Dig back like even further, like you talk like 20 years ago. Go back when like Derek was like 25. I mean, God, he's been playing since he was 9.
Right.
But he's now 45. I mean, he's been playing for so long now. Yeah. It's crazy. Go back to some of those old Derek Trucks Band shows because not just Susan Tedeschi, but the other vocalist, Mike Madison in Tedeschi Trucks Band, that sings lead every once in a while on some of the shows. If you check out any of the videos, he's one of the original. He was the secondary singer of Derek Trucks Band, but for a while he was the lead guy, and so it's kind of like an all in the family situation. Like a lot of them just kind of morphed into this next phase. Bands.
Right? Yeah, they're kind of like the Wu-Tang Clan of classic rock.
But I tell you, on that note, Susan's no slouch on guitar either, too.
She's
man.
Insane.
She's awesome.
Her voice is like her, as far as like vocalists, her and Beth Hart. You familiar with Beth Hart?
Beth Hart, I've heard the name, but
she does a lot. She's done some stuff with like Joe Bonamassa. She's got like a blues, like real soulful voice.
You ever seen Bonamassa live?
I have actually. I went to Jazz Fest this past year in New Orleans, and he played there.
He's been around a long time now too, also, right? Yeah. Killer tone, man. Yeah,
he was insane.
Monstrous tone.
He was in a full suit. It was like 99 degrees out, and like just intense humidity. Came out in a full suit.
That's like Warren Haynes, man. Like always wearing like all black when he's like performing on stage with the Mule or Allman Brothers Band or any band that he's sitting at. Actually, speaking of great vocalists, He's been doing a lot of collaborations with Grace Potter lately from
Oh, really?
from Vermont, Burlington, Vermont
Oh, no
area.
kidding.
Yeah, you familiar with Grace?
I've seen her once, actually.
Yeah,
I
she's
saw her
cool.
in Burlington.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, she's awesome.
I actually saw her open up for the Derek Trucks band in 2006 back in Connecticut.
Wow.
So
That's insane.
Yeah. So my father was a big influence with Derek Trucks, but that's great you bring that up. What is it about Derek? Is it like his tone? Just
It's the tone. I also like he seems to like take his time. You know, like when he goes into a solo, there's one, I think it's from the Everybody's Talking live album where...
that's a Tedeschi Trucks band album, right?
Yeah, they do Darlin' Be Home Soon cover. It's a cover, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know who actually wrote it or originally recorded it.
Could be an old blues song probably because Derek has a lot of old blues jazz references like in his style and playing. So,
but it's like when he goes into a solo, it's like just the whole mood shifts. Everything calms down. He kind of like it's kind of like those teachers or speakers or that will come out and they just give it a minute and then they'll go into their speech. They wait for they're patient enough to wait for the room to come to them, and that's what the vibe I get from him. He'll just kind of sit there like calmly, and then all of a sudden like just start slow, building, and then just go wild.
And the whole band trusts him, and they have trusted him for so many years, and they follow his lead, and it's one of those things. It's an excellent point that you bring up about how he takes his time. Because as I'm trying to build this podcast into something maybe beyond this, slowing down the process in general with everything, sometimes it truly catches people attention, like when almost like nothing is said when something should be said. And then they almost listen right away. It's like, okay, is something actually going to be said? And then you begin the process and they're like, okay, this guy means business or this lady means business. And I totally agree. And just the volume swells and the tone swells that he gets on the SG as he's building it and building
Incredible.
it. Oh, it's remarkable.
Yeah.
It's absolutely remarkable.
Yeah, he's like one of those guys that like his guitar solo will make you emotional. Yeah. It's
totally
like
agree.
A lot of times it's lyrics or something, but for you musicians, I mean, I'm recalling another, like one of my favorite solos is from like an Eric Clapton, One More Car, One More Ride or something like that.
Was that off of one of his solo album?
It was a live album he put out maybe in the early 2000s. And he does, I'm trying to recall here. Have You Ever Loved a Woman?
That's a great song.
Does Have You Ever Loved a Woman?
Yeah.
And the solos in that, the organ player like just was ripping it, just ripping it on like, and it's another one of those just remarkable solos that actually like just invokes emotion, you know?
I have to ask about two other guitar players in particular, and we'll get back to more of your influences, but are you a fan of John Mayer and Trey Anastasio by chance?
Dude, it's funny you say that. So lately, I've been watching some John Mayer. I've been going through the John Mayer rabbit hole on YouTube, and he is
monstrous
insane.
guitar player.
Oh my God, in his own style.
Monstrous guitar player.
Yeah.
Great songwriter also, too.
Yeah.
The reason I bring it up is because there is a video with him and Derek Trucks with B.B. King from 2012.
Really?
Have you seen that video?
No.
And it's... B.B. King's in his last couple of years. Remarkable story about B.B. King. He was alive until he was 89, and he was on record saying he did well over 250 shows a year still.
Oh, yeah.
At that
his
age,
whole life was just touring.
Yeah, even being wheeled out in a wheelchair until like the very end and just still playing Lucille until the very end. Incredible. But there's a video of John Mayer and Derek Trucks sitting in with B.B. King and his band. And John Mayer takes the first solo, and it's remarkable, absolutely mind-blowing. But then it's Derek Trucks' turn, and the whole thing, like you said, of like slowing it down and then building it up. And Derek is so humble with his facial expressions. Like if you actually hear, funny story, I've met him twice in my life.
Wow.
Years ago, I met him. Really, I was young. I was a teenager, but super nice guy. One of the nicest guys in the world you can ever imagine. When he opens up in conversation, like when he's not playing his guitar, dude, he's like us right now, just chatting about life normal. But when he's in the zone, it almost looks like he shows no emotion.
Yeah.
But he's concentrating because he's confident. And it's the whole thing where you said, hey, He's taking his time. He's looking around. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's building up. Like he doesn't know yet what he's going to play, but he's thinking it over and he's like, okay, this is going to work right here. And just seeing BB King's reaction and response after Derek finishes it up and looks back at the band to bring it back down and goes, son, that may be one of the best damn things I've ever heard. And you just see Derek's face just like blush red. Yeah. Oh, okay. It's just so, yeah.
I know. It's giving me chills thinking about it. That's cool.
But I bring up Trey Anastasio also too, because it goes back to Derek Trucks, because I think Trey has been on record, and Trey's another one of those guitar players. He's been around for the longest time. He's also very good, whether it's with Fish or Trey Anastasio band, of building the solo like slowly and then taking it off to like a next level. And I think he's on record saying that, yeah, Derek Trucks is my favorite guitar player on the planet.
Wow.
So it's really cool, like hearing that. Yeah. And they've done a couple of shows over the last year, Dustin, where Derek has sat in with Trey Anastasio band or with Fish. Yeah. And then Trey sits in with Tedeschi Trucks band. And it's just
that's cool.
It's the years of collaboration. And I credit phones and social media a lot, like with all these big shot guys like collaborating. Billy Strings, for example, like collaborating with everybody.
Everyone.
You know? Yeah.
No, I watched the video the other day. He came out at a Tool concert.
Yeah.
You see that?
With an electric guitar.
It's
yeah.
Like, dude, what are you doing? How are you just, how are you everywhere
how
at once?
You here? Yeah, exactly. Well, because someone told me, I know a little bit about Billy Strings, not like the whole like history and everything.
Yeah.
He's still a relatively young guy. Recently became a father, by the way, also too.
That's right.
He originally started on guitar. And you could hear it like in his shows, his bluegrass shows, where when it's his time to solo, he's got like distortion pedals, and you can see like the ripping.
Oh, he goes into like psychedelic.
Yeah,
I mean, he's insane.
And so when someone said, "Oh yeah, you shouldn't be surprised that he's sitting with a Tool," I'm like, dude, I want to be surprised that he's sitting in with Tool, but like, but man, he played electric guitar forever. I'm like, so I didn't know that he was an electric guitar player first. Really cool.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I thought his roots were, I mean, it definitely appears that his roots are in bluegrass.
Yeah.
You know, so that is interesting.
And he's truly bringing back the coolness of bluegrass, I think, as far as like in modern day 2024.
Yeah.
He's really bringing the coolness back in bluegrass.
Yeah, I mean, the first exposure to him was I was watching the video he did with Marcus King. And those two together were just like...
So can I tell you, this episode is already a blast because we are hitting on so many of my personal favorites too.
Yeah, they did the,
Dude,
I think Lonesome Refugee was the one.
He's a monster too.
Yeah.
Marcus King. Oh my God.
I know, the soul. Monster. You know, and I'm watching these two young guys and they're just full of soul and like...
Yeah. Do you know Warren Haynes, I think, was his manager for a while also
right?
too? I think so.
I had no idea. I know that Marcus King, I think I heard him say that he got a lot of help from Dan Auerbach from the Black Keys on the like producing his newest album.
Oh no, kidding! From a producing it.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So,
have you ever seen Marcus King live?
I've not. No.
I highly recommend it.
Yeah,
another one I highly recommend.
Definitely want to.
Yeah, it's kind of a nerdy thing I've noticed about Marcus King. I'm sure he like endorses these probably. I remember, but the 1/4-inch guitar cables. He's got the one that looks like curly fries or like curls around. You know, it's
sure. Yeah, the old phone cords.
Yeah, the old phone cord. Oh my God. So 39 and 35. Again, the 18-year-olds that are going to hear this eventually, you don't know the feeling about that. Yeah. Did you ever have to work with the
rotary phone?
The rotary phone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Remember comedian Louis C.K. said one time, he goes, these things are wasted on the worst generation because people have no idea what it was like. Oh, this guy's got a 0 and a 9. Like, and it's like heavy and like how badly do I want to call this guy? And
he's my favorite comedian too.
Yeah. And I know the controversy aside,
sure,
he's still funny.
Absolutely.
He's still funny.
His last 3 specials have been the funniest I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So
I was just thinking of the one earlier today, the clip where he goes, everybody's afraid of dying. You don't want to die, but it's like it's a part of life. It's like, could you imagine if like Pontius Pilate and everybody from the 1100s were here today? Okay, Pontius, just you got to scan the QR code. What? I don't understand. Yeah. It's like, come on, just get out of here. You're not going to be here that much longer. They're not going to make the world better for you. Yeah. It's great now. Just get out. Like, you're not going to be here that much longer. Segue back to your career, because this is your episode. I want to give a special shout out first and foremost to, I'm going to have him on an episode next month. Ty McCarthy of the Wheelers VT Productions out in New Hampshire, who Dustin and Ty are very, very good friends. Check them out and their whole roster. He's kept you quite busy the last couple of years, right?
He has, yeah.
Yeah.
It's been pretty awesome. I mean, I recently, so like, I only really started gigging maybe 3 years ago. And I had bought some equipment, I bought a PA and some equipment. I started practicing with it in my justification, because at the time I was kind of saving money, pinching pennies, and I bought this PA thinking like, I'm going to buy this, practice with it, and eventually it will pay for itself.
Was it an old passive system, or
No, it was actually a
powered
line array. It
speakers?
was nice stuff. It was like the Bose line array.
Nice.
I think it was like the Bose L1. I still have it, and I mean, yeah.
Is that your main gigging PA system?
Well, actually, no. I bought a PRX one, a JBL from Ty, actually.
Yeah,
and that's been working out pretty well.
JBLs are great, man.
Yeah, but recently I actually did just buy some powered speakers too. I set up a whole little studio in our upstairs. So my wife plays guitar too.
Oh, nice. Have you guys ever done like a duo or?
Well, I mean, we play at home together, but she's not, so much interested in playing out, and I understand maybe sometime, but I'm there to support and hang out. We play some great songs together.
That's
though.
awesome. Similar styles of genres that she likes, like that you listen to.
There's some overlap. Yeah, I mean, she's definitely more into folk.
Okay.
So her and her sister, I got to give them credit. The song you heard me play earlier. One day I was just in our living room, like riffing around, and her sister started coming up with words, and Carrie started coming up with words. Carrie's my wife, and then I came up. So really, some writing credits go to my wife Carrie and her sister Kirsten for that song you just heard. So it's just a fun, like, real open, creative atmosphere we're trying to create. So
that's awesome. You both have day jobs in addition to music? Or?
She's actually a writer. So she wrote she's a sci-fi writer.
Wow.
Yeah, she wrote her first book. It's Adventures of Tilly and Tig.
Is it available online, or
it is? It's on Amazon.
Great.
Yeah. So she's working on the second one right now. And
What's it about?
Just kind of doing her thing. So basically, it's about these, like, it's a female lead driven, like a story, and basically it's like one's an assassin and like I'm kind of butchering the subject matter, but she's an assassin.
Oh, why you just said assassin? Said assassin, and I partially laughed.
The main character is an assassin who has an assignment to take out a target, and isn't able to for some reason, and it ends up in kind of a wild adventure, and kind of just an alternate universe. But it's a lot of fun. So I mean, she's just kind of holding it down. She's a really great writer, and
how long has she been doing this?
She's been doing it for about 1.5 years full time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Does she work for a specific company, or is she like independent?
No, she's self-published at the moment.
Self-published. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so she's been reaching out to people and kind of doing some revisions and stuff, and
Because I would imagine in the age of like working from home, I mean, any company, whether it's like based out of New York City or like anywhere, could probably pick up her work or her resume and just be like, hey, we really like this. We'd be interested if you want to publish for us.
So my view on it is like,
that's just where my brain was thinking, like the possibilities.
No, for sure. I mean, it's like, I just tell her, like, do your own thing and do what you want to do. Focus on writing and doing it to where it's enjoyable. And because it's a struggle where it's like, from what I watch, and I watched your episode with Jim Yeager too, and he's got his book, but it's like, when you write a book, it's like, these days everyone wants you to go on TikTok and do the videos and do the marketing, and it's like, I think, my vision on it is like, kind of just go for what you want to do.
Right.
Do what you want to do and put everything you can into it. And eventually it becomes this like this orb of, whatever you created, and then it goes out there, and then people are attracted to it.
It's kind of a combination of you're always doing it for yourself, but at the same time, while it's a part of art for you writing a book as well too. It's a part of art. But if you are also looking to get it out there further to the world to potentially make money and put food on the table, then that's where like those outside influences of like, hey, get on TikTok, get on Instagram and Facebook. Yeah. I mean, because shout out to Jim Yeager also too. Jim does a fabulous job marketing his book and like throwing it out there, and he's grateful. He always like compliments people who give like, great reviews on it that really enjoy the book. And he's just like Jim is the good term I could say about Jim is he's, I think my good friend Nick Breedis, he mentioned this one time. It's a good term, I believe. Salt of the earth, like just a solid human being. I think that's the right term to use, and that's what I always feel about Jim Yeager. Jim, if you check this episode out too, man, we love you. You're a solid human being. But anyways, getting back to that, so that's cool. So now you said you have in the can some songs that you've been writing over the years. Have you recorded any of them in the studio? Do you have any plans to go into the studio or?
So it's I've got probably 15 to 20 songs that are like 3/4, what I would consider 3/4 written. And it's not often that I get like compelled to write a song. It's usually when I'm feeling something pretty heavy that I'll go and write something. A lot of my songs are just like the one you heard that I played. Kind of sad, some sad stuff. I don't play them out very often. As far as recording goes, like, eventually, I plan on doing it. I think it would be cool to have something out there. But I still am feeling like I've got a lot to learn, and I want to grow in a lot of ways as a guitar player. I feel like there's something I want to say, but I don't have the language to say it yet.
Yeah. Have you learned a lot in your brief time being a part-time to full-time performing musician? Have you learned a lot about just balancing what to play, when to eventually play your original music, and just entertaining the audience?
So much.
Yeah.
I mean, it was incredibly valuable to me. And shout out to Ty once again, because, 3 years ago I bought the equipment, and my first gig, so I played at, I put a video online, and my friend Eduardo, who owns Lalo's Taqueria in Lebanon, he messaged me and he's like, dude, come play at the taco shop sometime. And I was like, hell yeah, absolutely. So I went and played there, and then Ty messaged me. He's like, hey, I saw you played at this place, and started booking me. And in that time, it's like, I used to have this perspective of like practice so that you can perform. But what I've learned is that it's a loop. It's like perform as practice, practice to perform. And it's this constant feedback loop that I'm getting. And it's like been invaluable to me. And it's also like driven me to like want to practice more, want to grow as a player and do all kinds of stuff. So yeah, it's been awesome.
That's a great perspective. And I think to kind of add on to that as well, anytime we're sitting at home and practicing stuff that we think sounds good at home behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Then when you go out into the open in front of the audience, it's time to put the blinders on. Time to put the blinders on. You don't know what's going to happen. Yeah.
I mean, I'm surprised every time. Like, I'll be driving to a show thinking like, I can't believe people like I'm going to get paid to do this. Because we all have this level of like, I don't even want to say imposter syndrome. Because imposter syndrome implies that I'm actually good. But, but like, I'm always surprised when I hear a clap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, wow, people like it. I guess I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah. Well, here's a good segue right here on that. So when you're at a show, you get a mix of all different people with the clapping. Mm-hmm. You get the clapping before you actually finish the song. So they're that into it. You get the people that are not on their phone, they're looking dead at you, that will clap immediately after a song. Some don't want to clap at all because they think it's awkward to clap on their end, when that's what live music has always been about for years, you would think. Right. And then you got the people that are just on their phone, just not paying attention at all.
How about the people that are with headphones? You're right. Hopefully that's not just me that's experienced that. You go to play a gig and there's like a 20-year-old in there, like with Beats by Dre, Like, okay, dude, well.
Yeah, or they got the old iPod that plugs in, and that's how they like hear. Remember, what were like the real tiny mini iPods? Remember they were like this small?
Nano?
Nano,
iPod
right?
Nano?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. That's definitely going back to like 2003, 2004 ish. Crazy. It is amazing how much has evolved technology wise over the years. Can folks find you Facebook, Instagram as far as promoting of your shows?
Dustin Marshall Music on Instagram and Facebook. Yeah, kind of counterintuitive to what I was talking about 5 minutes ago about the marketing. I am trying to get better at putting myself out there and updating my shows. So I will be updating those. But really, I play all around the Upper Valley, here in Ludlow. And I'm just super grateful. I play on the train, the dinner
train.
in
Yeah, the
Burlington.
Champlain Valley. Yeah, that was last weekend. Yeah.
Me,
That's a great time, isn't it?
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah. Have you ever done a gig like that up until then, like playing on the train?
Well, I mean, I played on the train last year, but no, that's definitely a one of a kind.
Yeah. We'll go Dr. Seuss route. Have you ever played on a boat?
No boats yet, no.
You know what reference that's from, by the way? Green Eggs and Ham, Sam I Am. Would you eat them on a boat?
Dude, I'll
Would
be
you
honest,
eat them with a
Dr.
goat?
Seuss, I'm going to be honest here. Unpopular opinion, Dr. Seuss, those books creep me out, dude.
Oh, yeah?
That Grinch
Well, there's got to be
movie-
something about it that they're not telling you is actually truly behind the scenes. You know, there's got to be something behind it.
I don't know, but that Grinch movie, like, used to give me nightmares as a kid.
As soon as he tells you you're a mean one, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
is
like
it the Jim
song.
Carrey one? The Jim Carrey one?
The Jim Carrey one
That's it.
freaks me out. Yeah.
Fabulous.
Yeah, dude, I'm good.
Yeah. Or is it or is it the name Max of the dog that creeps you out?
No,
Max?
it's honestly, it's the Who's.
The Who's.
I don't like their little faces. It's just the shape of everything.
Yeah.
I'm not into it at all. It's
I definitely see the comedy references right
Yeah,
there. It's
I mean,
like that. You could just see like someone like Bill Burr coming in out of nowhere. It's like, no, get that thing away from me. No, stop. No, I don't want that near me. No,
Yeah.
no. Ah!
yeah.
See, I actually almost got sad when the Grinch fell over the mountaintop with the presents.
Is that right?
Yeah, I don't know if it was more like the presents going away or him dying.
Dude, I will say I did feel
Yeah.
bad for him when he was a little kid. You know,
Yeah.
what I mean? When he's a kid in school and they're picking on him, that wasn't right.
Well, that's why he turned to being evil, but then
Right.
he had a born again moment where he's like, "Oh, I do have a heart."
Dude,
you know?
spoiler alert would have been nice. I mean, for the good people.
Yeah, right. Instead, the Who's have to creep us the heck out. Yeah. So transitioning country artists, you mentioned in the pregame are a heavy influence on your songwriting. So name right, yeah, name some like of your favorites like lately that come to mind. Whether it's old school country or new guys like Luke Holmes, you know, Luke Bryan,
Towns Van Zandt,
yeah,
huge one. Guy Clark, Rodney Crowell, that whole crew. Heart-Worn Highways, I think, is the old, like, there's an old video called, I think it's called Heart-Worn Highways.
Okay. Yeah.
That's like, yeah, I mean, just this whole crew that just would hang out, and I think it was maybe the late 70s. I'm a big fan of the Ken Burns country music documentary.
Okay.
He goes all
I haven't
into
seen it, but
it's insane, dude.
Yeah,
it's insane. It's like an 8-parter, and they go through all the history of, you know, American country music.
8-parter. How can anybody with an attention span of 10 seconds with the reels like watch it?
It's tough. Yeah, it is brutal.
But there's no commercials though, right?
No commercial. I mean, you
well,
gotta watch it on PBS.
that kind of moves the process along.
Yeah. So yeah, those guys. I mean, as of newer artists, like I love Coulter Wall. I don't know if you've ever listened to him.
Oh.
He's insane. He's like does some just like deep, you know, pretty deep finger style country songs. Justin Towns Earl.
The name sounds familiar.
That's Steve Earle's son.
Oh, okay.
He recently passed away a few years ago, but he was awesome. You know, and I love.
Here's one for you, because it kind of goes to like the hard rock era.
Sure.
Aaron Lewis of Stained.
Sure.
Monstrous country voice like just country background also too. I was a huge fan of Stained like way back in the day, like when Break the Cycle came out in like 2001. I remember just hearing not just it's been a while, but so many songs. And then I think what really turned me on to his country stuff was his version of What Hurts the Most, Rascal Flatts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or whoever wrote that song originally, but you should check it out. Yeah, Aaron Lewis's version of that. It's just,
I will, yeah.
It's deep and powerful.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyways, I wanted to tie the hard rock and him like into that.
Sure.
So, because I always bring this up in the episodes too, but like Taylor Swift, Post Malone is one of the biggest names in the world.
Oh, he's huge.
And I had no idea his country background way back in the day, and then back to now. I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of those dudes I think that is just like, he's got kind of the Dave Grohl effect, where it's like he's just a good like. You hear him on interviews and stuff, and you can't help. I mean, he's a likable dude.
Yeah.
And Dave Grohl's got that.
Grohl before, unfortunately, recently.
Well, he had like a scandal or something, right?
Dave Grohl, yeah.
Is he canceled right now?
I don't know. I don't know.
I thought it was all good. I heard he had a child with outside of the marriage, but things happened.
He made an Instagram post that it's getting better. Hopefully, I hope. Anyways,
here's the thing, man. We're all human beings.
We all make mistakes,
and that goes to the stars as well. They're all we're all flawed. They all have
closets. We all have skeletons. That's the bottom line. But I still view Dave Grohl, the majority of the person, hear him in the interviews, man, he's a solid dude. And I was going to say, like, Post Malone, maybe to some people's opinion, maybe it's the appearance, the whole, like, don't judge a book by its cover. But you hear him, like, speak. Yeah, seems like a really solid dude, Oh,
yeah, it seems just like, I mean... Yeah. Cool to be around, I like hearing him on podcasts and stuff. He's funny. So,
have you ever met any of your heroes?
That's a good question. Teddy Roosevelt, I met him one time. It was 1908. No, I'm just messing around.
George Washington, 1797, 2 years before he passed away. I bring up that question because I think about this all the time and how I've been fortunate to build a career around here in Ludlow doing this as a musician. And I've met so many just amazing people over the last couple of years. Yeah. And I always think how would you want to be approached by a guest or like a fan, like when you're not playing music? And I think about it all the time, like with some of the stars that I've met over the years, I've thought about it and I'm like, well, besides knowing like the personal space and the boundaries when like you're meeting people, perhaps striking a conversation about something completely different than music or their fame might actually generate a spark in them, like wanting to engage with you. And I've noticed that every once in a while. Like, there's a guy from a California-based jam band. His name's Zach Gill. The band's called Animal Liberation Orchestra, also known as ALO. They're best buddies with Jack Johnson. Jack Johnson's Brushfire Records company actually did a lot of their albums. Yeah. And I met him in Connecticut at the Fairfield Theater Company in 2023, last year, August. And I chatted about like a lot of other different like music-based topics that was not like ALO. And I could just see like his face like light up. Like, he was busy. He had a bunch of people pulling him in different directions. But we took pictures together and like, he was just like so cool. And I think sometimes if you happen to ever be in a situation where you approach your stars, if you find a way to just be like one of them and like a normal person and recognize that they're like another person, if you chat about something different, they might be like happy and like give you the time of day.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, to answer your question, I don't think I have met any of my heroes. And I guess like, I try to really get in this state of mind is like, we're all the same. Like we're all in this plane. And so to have heroes, it's like, it kind of goes back to even what we were just talking about with Dave Grohl. It's like we're all just kind of flawed animals. Mm-hmm. And it's like...
nobody's perfect.
I don't think I would if I saw, Derek Trucks and he was at, Singleton's or something.
Yeah.
I don't think I would approach. That's just my own philosophy on it. As far as being approached, I'm a big fan of just like an honest conversation. Like, I'm not big into real small talk. I like to kind of go deep and I like to be truthful as far as like my interactions go. So if anyone just hits me with like, hey, I really like this song. Have you done this? Or like, have you heard? I mean, kind of like the conversation I think that we're having right now. Yeah. It's like just kind of breach the crest. You know what I mean? Like, let's go right to like, truth.
Yeah.
You know, I don't. I don't.
It's a great analysis on it.
I'm not big into the small talk.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And yeah, small talk. Small talk can certainly be one of those things where it gets anybody in trouble and continues to like start wildfires. And I'll pull a funny with you. So you're like, got to get better with the social media and the posting of the videos and stuff. Social media is a dangerous minefield, man. Sometimes with those pages and just seeing the humanity of like people fighting back and forth.
Oh yeah, dude.
I did not to go into this subject, but I did a show because you mentioned like you play in Ludlow a lot, like Calcutta's Off the Rails, like a lot of our similar places that we play at. I did one of those biker Thursday night shows at Off the Rails. That shout out again to Ty, he hooked us up with those. It was the last Thursday in June, and I remember it was the first of the debates. You know what I mean by that.
Oh, yeah.
And so afterwards, after the show was done, it was 6 to 9 outside, finish up, and I go inside to go to the bathroom, and then I see the debate on every single one of the channels, and I'm like, I'm out. I'll people watch the humanity really quickly, but after that, I'm out. I'm not sticking around for this.
Yeah.
And I caught like a sense of humor out of that. I'm just like, no, I'm not sticking around for this.
Right.
Yeah. But it could the point is that social media can definitely be a minefield.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it invokes, unfortunately, like, I mean, there's a lot of addiction to it. Like scroll. I mean, you sit and scroll on your phone. I mean, it's tough to like manage it and be disciplined and kind of like use it as a tool, because it is a great thing at the same time. It's not just like this evil thing that's been brought down. Like, I have a lot of friends. I mean, I grew up in Florida, so I have all these like Citrus County. Shout out to
Where's that?
It's like Central Florida, Gulf Coast, near Ocala.
Okay, Orlando area, kind of.
About 2 hours.
About 2 hours
from Orlando. Yeah, but I grew up there from when I was like 5 to 15. So. But and all my friends, I'm able to, because of this technology we have, I'm able to like keep in touch and see
send
what they're
them a
doing.
Photo of a dog or a cat,
Absolutely,
something funny.
So for me, it's a beautiful thing. Or find out about events coming up. Find out about next time Sammy's playing at wherever.
Yeah, and when Dustin's playing at Okemo out in the cold. Let's segue to that. How is it playing out in the cold?
Well, the first time was a bit rough. Like the first time I did it, because like. It was in the little trailer, like they have that like awesome Toyota trailer. Yeah. You guys got to check this out.
Shout out to Okemo Vale Resorts and Anna Tumber, field marketing agent at Okemo. Shout out to them.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a blast playing there. And the first time I played there, they had this cool little like Airstream trailer that's a stage, and it was just like so cool. But yeah, at that point, they didn't have the heaters yet, so I'm like, how do I even do this? And I was somewhat new to even gigging, so I'm like, is this normal?
Not only that, how did your guitar handle it?
Right.
Yeah.
Out of tune. But then, fortunately, the next time I showed up, they had these 2 big heaters, and it was all good. In between sets, just kind of do one of these,
Yeah, or even between songs sometimes. Yeah. The key is, folks, and for any artists that are like watching this, is you hope that there's no 15-mile-an-hour wind gusts in addition to it already being winter and it being cold outside. Yeah. But ski resorts are excellent exposure, aren't they? Playing at any of them?
There's tons of people. Everyone's having fun.
Have you played at any other ski resorts besides Okemo?
I don't think so, really, no. Yeah. I don't think so. I mean, I played in the Killington area, but...
Great network up there also, too.
But no, not...
Where have you played up in Killington?
I played at the Wobbly Barn a few times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
At the Wobbly.
Opening up for Krishnav's band or
I think so, actually. One of the times was his band, and another time was a different one. But yeah, I mean, that place was super cool.
Wobbly's a great spot, man.
Yeah, it was awesome.
You had the food there?
I don't think I ate while I was there.
Food is really good. They're known for their steaks and everything. It's
I mean, it looked good.
But. Yeah. So you have any big shows noteworthy on the horizon in your schedule coming up?
Not really, honestly. It's I mean, I got the Covered Bridge Farm Table in Campton, New Hampshire. That's Wednesday. I don't even know the day. Anyway, check out the Covered Bridge Farm Table in Campton. It's a sweet spot. It's like right on this beautiful little. Have you ever been there?
I have not.
Checked it
No,
out?
no, I haven't.
It's up near Plymouth and like
Okay.
kind of getting into the White Mountains.
Yeah.
It's just like this beautiful spot.
I'll be doing some shows this winter at the Woodstock Inn Brewery with my trio band, Wood Tie, the
hell yeah.
Whatnots. Yeah.
Nice.
Shout out to my buddy King Arthur Jr., bass player, guitar player as well, too. Yeah, so we'll have a couple of shows up there. That's a nice area up there.
Yeah, wicked. I'm actually kind of excited. I mean, November's a slower month for me right now, and I plan on going out. I mean, starting this weekend, I'm going to try to go out and actually like, I want to start hitting up more of more of the local shows around.
Yeah.
When I'm not playing, I want to start going and check people out.
Check people out, yeah.
A couple weekends ago, I was on my way home from Calcutta's, and Chris Paluto was playing at Salt Hill in Lebanon.
Chris Paluto's a monster.
And I swung in there. I'm like, I got to stop in. I just swung in.
Shout
for
out to
like
Chris.
15 minutes on my way home and just watched him. And the dude is like,
He's a solid dude,
he's
man.
insane.
Voice from
Yeah.
God, man. Great guitar player,
soulful.
too. Yeah.
I mean, it was just, I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah. Did you see he had a mishap recently, unfortunately, with like gear?
I did, yeah, and I
everything?
wasn't
Yeah.
able to make it to that like benefit show.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know
the
he had
Clear
a-
River,
a
yeah,
thing.
yeah. So I heard it was well received though, yeah. But yeah, shout out to him. Hopefully he was able to recoup the funds and get back on his feet, because that's a terrible situation. I've for years when I traveled back and forth from Connecticut, I never locked my car like out in the woods in Vermont and New Hampshire. But
Yeah.
now just to be on the safe side. You
Yeah,
never know.
it's definitely good practice.
Unfortunately, yeah, because wasn't there a whole thing during COVID with catalytic converters of cars getting stolen? Remember that whole thing that was going on?
Yeah, I do remember that.
I was like, man, my car's too valuable. I don't want that getting taken.
I know, dude. No, it's crazy times.
Yeah. What's the farthest that you're willing to travel for a show, or that you have traveled from home?
It all really depends on right now it's Burlington for that train. It depends what the gig is, and it depends, I mean, to be completely transparent, what the pay is. If it pays a little well, I'm more likely to do the travel. But like I play in Derry, New Hampshire once in a while at the Hair of the Dog.
I've heard of that place. I think. I
it's
haven't
pretty
been,
cool.
but I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's an awesome little like bar restaurant in Derry. And I used to live in Derry, so it's cool kind of just going back and hitting some of the old spots I used to
How do you
go
like
to.
playing at the Salt Hill pubs? Those are always
Love
fun.
it. Yeah, I mean, I got some coming up, I think, next month at, or maybe in December at the Shanty. So, yeah, I mean.
Shanty's a great spot.
Yeah, I love playing at the Salt Hills. It's also closer to home, which is nice, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Have you ever hosted one of those Thursday night songwriting or open mic nights at the Lebanon location?
I did, yeah. I was, I mean, we would kind of cycle, me, Adam, I think Bill did one.
I did 1 week also too. It was a lot of fun.
Did you?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I like it, and it's something that I think they stopped it for the season, but hopefully it comes back next year, and we had started to get some good regulars coming, and
Do you have a lot of have you had a lot of experience over the years with open mics, like getting to meet people and like playing at open mics to get your confidence built up to be a 2 or 3 hour solo guy?
Unfortunately, not really. No, I mean, I'll be quite honest with you, Sammy. Like, the extent of my playing has been on this island. I'm one of those guys like that has just been, I built a cabin. I mean, before I moved in with my wife, like, I lived in this cabin that I had built.
Wow.
It had no running water, just like electricity and Wi-Fi. And
Is it a log cabin or?
it's a tiny, no, it's just a little like more of a glorified shed. You know what I'm saying?
A man cave?
Exactly,
A mobile
yeah.
man cave?
Built it out
Yeah.
of pocket and just practiced. And I mean, I was there for 6 years, and a good portion of that was during COVID. So it was like, right now, that's a big objective of mine, is to like start finding other people, playing with other people. And especially like, as I mentioned earlier, I've been playing more electric.
Yeah.
So like,
Have you
it's
played
just
in the
more
band
fun.
before? Have
Not.
You
No.
have not? Yeah.
No, I have a couple buddies. Like I have a drummer friend of mine, Ryan Howe, out of Grafton, New Hampshire. I meet up with him on like a Saturday once in a while, and we'll jam out. And a buddy I work with at my full-time job, Corey Cantlin, he was in some bands on the Upper Valley. He's a bass player. So he and I are we're really looking for like a drummer that's on a schedule, and just people to play with in general around the area,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. What's your biggest takeaway from from playing live? And it's kind of it could be a very broad question, but in your playing career so far, what's been like one of the most memorable live show experiences that you've had from you performing?
Honestly, probably the train was one of them, and not even too long ago. I mean, like maybe a month ago, I was on the train.
The best part is they're stuck with you, by the way.
They're stuck with me,
they're stuck with
and
you.
the bartender there, Doug.
Doug,
the bartender,
oh yeah, Doug's the man. Yeah,
he's
yeah.
like,
shout out Doug. I don't think he's much of a social media guy, but shout out to him.
He's probably on his way back to Florida right now.
Yeah.
But I came in. He's like, "What kind of stuff do you play?" And I'm like, and I had met him like 3 times before, but we were just kind of rekindling, And I'm like, I play all kinds of stuff, man. He's like, well, don't be afraid to play a little louder on this one,
It's so funny. Yeah.
And it's a weird room
yeah.
for me because you're trying to feel it out. They're stuck with you.
Because you're battling the volume of the train with the wheels on the tracks. You're battling that.
And
It's so funny you bring up about Doug with the volume because they've got the little connector like you can put your phone on like in between if you do separate. You can put on Sirius or something. So I put on Grateful Dead channel and I keep it at a relatively low volume. And he's like, "What the hell are you doing? Crank that shit." And I'm like, "Excuse my French." But, we've been keeping the episodes fairly clean. Whatever. Yeah. I mean, it's not, I go, well, there's people on here or whatever. Man, dude, I don't care. I'm the bartender, man. Crank it. I'm like, okay.
And it was good advice because, I mean, I put it up a little louder and people were into it. And by the end of it, we had a sing-along and everyone was just, having a blast. And that's what it's all about. I mean, I also love, like, if there's another musician or someone that sings, I'll let them come up and sing. I mean, that's kind of a dangerous game sometimes.
Yeah, especially from the open mic scenario. Yeah, it can be. Yeah,
but I mean, it's still fun. It's those moments like that just like get people engaged and get everyone. Let's like we're all trying to create something here, and it's not just me. Like let's all have fun together, kind of thing.
Well, speaking of the creating also too, that's what I hope your episode and time here has created because most of the artists and also just regular business owners. Like I've had real estate agents on here also too, and business owners. That's like a lot of joy that I get out of art and entertainment is creating like a comfortable environment for anybody between band members, coworkers, and just we're all like you said, we're on this plane. We're all in this day-to-day adulthood existence together, and so we play nice and just kind of work towards like a common goal. It ends up being a beautiful thing, and it's always a fun experience for me meeting new musicians and jamming on their songs on the fly. No practice, no rehearsal, just here we go, like figure it out. And hopefully you enjoyed that on your original. And
it was just awesome. That's what I live for. I mean, that's why I do it. I love I like to improvise too, and do that, and it's like that's really the most fun part for me. It's like just being able to kind of express yourself. And it's like I mentioned earlier too with the songwriting, it's like I have things to say, but I don't know all the words yet. And I'm practicing, right now more than ever just to kind of like get those tools to kind of put it out there. And it's been a lot of fun so far, man.
Big topic I had last night with Matt Meserve, keyboard player, who I had on a recording yesterday. Do you ever get writer's block or burnout when you're like writing songs? Like, do you have like those moments where, man, I'm just not feeling finishing this song, or I'm not quite sure. I might go like a couple of years without writing songs.
Every single time.
Every
single.
Yeah.
I mean,
Is that like just normal for life where people just go through like ups and downs of needing to even do something that they love, put that on the backside for a little while just to.
Well, dude, this is like a topic I discuss with my wife, like probably twice a week, is kind of showing up. And like the songs that I like to write are the ones that aren't difficult to write. Whether you want to call it the muse, if you believe in that, like kind of just when you're feeling something and you have to write it. Those I have about 3 of those that have happened to me over the years where it's like, something like you're feeling a certain way and like it just pours out of you, and every time I sit down to like with the goal of writing a song, it's very difficult for me because I'm like trying to invoke some kind of emotion, trying to get my head in some place. And I hope to learn how to be able to do that. I hope to be able to like put myself in a place that allows for a stream of thought to put the pen to paper. But lately, I haven't been really worrying about it. I'm having a lot of fun just playing covers.
That's awesome.
I think there's still a lot of creativity in playing covers, like kind of trying to make them your own, and also just enjoying the songs that like I've loved my whole life with other people and things like that. So,
do you ever write or prepare a set list before a show?
I mean, I have like a rough outline, but of course, as you know, and as I'm learning,
reading the audience,
every room is different. So it's like
between sound of the system, your guitar itself, your vocals,
and the folks that are showing up to be there. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
And when it's on the, like, take for instance that gig on the train. If you go in there, and if there's a woman, that, and an elderly woman or something, and maybe she's is holding her head and has a headache or something, you don't want to like be blasting those people. It's like
reading the room,
reading the
and
the
audience, yeah.
Exactly, and just kind of like, it's kind of like I think of a doctor. The first rule is do no harm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In most places, I start low, and the first thing I do is I when I say hello to the manager or the owner, I say, hey, if at any time you feel I'm too loud or too low, just let me know. It's hard for me because being solo, it's like to do a proper sound check sometimes is difficult. So if at any time, like the last thing I want to do is to disturb anyone, or like blast people out of the room. So
from dynamics of reading the room, this is another one I chat with musicians about every once in a while. But how much is too much in regards to speaking on the microphone in between songs? Like, because I find sometimes it all depends on my personal mood during the day as well.
Sure.
Too. I almost think like a sweet spot is if you go every 3 to 5 songs without saying something on the mic, and then just do like, hey, once again, everybody, my name is Dustin Marshall. Thanks for being here. It's kind of again, like trying to put the baseball team aspect or football like coach manager team aspect part into this. What's always generally worked for me is also saying, hey, take care of your bartenders, servers, kitchen staff, take care of everybody. I'm curious your take on that. Like how often do you speak on the microphone in between songs or,
Well, again, it's like, I mean, sometimes it depends how I'm feeling, I mean, honestly, if it's, I can be reserved, a little more reserved sometimes. And sometimes I'm just downright overtired and silly. And those are usually the most fun because I just like, I care a little less.
Yeah.
And I just am able to talk to people more comfortably. And, Those are usually the most fun, but it's also the crowd. I mean, if it's in a spot where people are there, they're dining out with their friends and they want to catch up and talk, I'm not going to disturb that. I want to be in the background. I want to be in a sweet spot in the background. I'm going to introduce myself.
It's one of those. If I'm if you and I are the guests and we're listening to a musician, and I'm leaning closer to you to hear what you're saying, that's a problem. That could be a problem sometimes.
Absolutely.
From a volume
I
perspective.
definitely take note of that too.
Yeah.
And I appreciate, I mean, honestly, like going back to the island part, talking to you, talking to Ty, Adam McMahon, like the people I'm around, the instances where I am around, more experience, like gigging musicians is invaluable to me to get little tips like that and also validate things that I've thought of on my own.
Yeah.
But wasn't sure, like, hey, do you always do it like that? Or, and that's why, like, I want to go out and see you guys more and try to catch some more shows just to kind of like, let it influence me in the best way possible.
It's also very, it's a positive experience as well, too. If we all have an opportunity to not be the star, but be out in the audience and watch other people do their thing. I love seeing the other musicians that would just be like, oh man, Sammy B's in the house. Like, and you're just like there, you want to go in, you want to, have a beer, have like, a meal or whatever. And you just want to enjoy the other person, like just doing their thing. That's an uplifting experience on either end to see our fellow musicians providing that healthy competition and the helping each other out.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful feeling.
100%. And I honestly,
yeah.
like, when I started
That's why I
gigging-
came up and introduced myself to you at Okemo over the winter. I'm like, hey man, I've heard your name. Just wanted to come up and say hi.
dude. So far, I mean, it's kind of overwhelming, really, since I started gigging. Like how cool everyone in this, scene, if you want to call it that, and the peers around me are just like so incredibly supportive and cool. All the time. I mean, I have questions. And it's been really cool as far as like just being new to it, and there's no instruction manual really.
No.
So it's like,
it's called life, man.
yeah. So honestly, when you came up to me that time, Jackson Gore, and introduced yourself, I remember that, and I'm like, Sammy, and it's funny because like that morning or something, I think I was watching a video of you, because I think we were friends on
Facebook or something like that. Yeah.
And I think I was watching a video. I'm like, damn, dude, that dude can shred. Like he's tearing it up. And then you just appeared.
Every once
like
in a while,
genie.
I bring a Les Paul out.
Yeah, dude, it was sweet.
Oh well, thank you. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, and it's been really great working with a lot of singer-songwriters that don't necessarily shred. It's nice to have that balance of people from all different backgrounds. Like I've interviewed my good friends Jay Osborne and David Lewis, who are the drummers for Rick Reddington and the Tough Love. Shout out to Rick Reddington and Heather up at the Wild Fern out in Stockbridge, Vermont. You should get in there sometime.
Sure.
They're very supportive of all different artists and everything. Yeah. But yeah, it's just like they bring their cajon in, and then that's when it's, normally like I would have the featured guest play their originals, but in this case, they're drummers. So unless you're like, hey, you're playing like a cowbell and you're singing, that could be an original. Yeah. That could be an original somewhere out in another country.
Sure.
But it's like, okay, then I showcase one of my originals and they jam to it. It's nice having that very inclusive feeling, whether it's a podcast or whether it's an open mic. I think around here, Vermont, New Hampshire, the Upper Valley, Southern Vermont, Southern New Hampshire, the future is very bright for a lot of us, especially like the younger cats that are coming up. It's a really nice feeling.
Yeah, and I hope to be able to, kind of do the same thing as the years go by.
I was gonna ask you as a kind of a rapid fire question in this segment. There's no better moment than the present, as they say, just kind of as like a life, zen.
Sure.
Zen. But if you had a looking into the future goal with music, what would be one that you're really striving for? I don't want to say like an end road or like just what would be an inspiring goal that you can possibly achieve?
That's a really good question. I think about this once in a while, and
first thing that goes to people's mind is Taylor Swift level fame. Some may not want that. I don't know if some want that or not. But
honestly, I mean, if something like that were to happen to me, it would be like completely random. It would be a complete like it wouldn't be. I'm definitely not trying like going that. I have no expectation of any.
I don't think anyone expects to ever achieve that.
Yeah.
It happens.
Right.
It's the same thing with social media with TikTok. Sometimes people become a TikTok
things
star
happen.
overnight.
I guess
things happen. Yeah. But just from the heart, what do you see as like an ultimate goal that you would want to achieve?
Musically, I guess like honestly, I want to be a professional. You know what I mean? Like I want to be the guy that can show up and just do the job.
Make an impact on someone's day.
Yeah, and also get it like going back to having the vocabulary, having the musical vocabulary, being able to speak the language with others, being other musicians, being able to be in sync, being able to like have that conversation, and that is what it's all about for me. And I have little doses of that right now, but I just want to keep going towards that because for me, that's really what it's all about, Yeah. And not only with other musicians, but with the audience and anyone that's listening, really.
Finding that balance in life between putting food on the table at the right price, doing something you love, but just also remembering what you truly get out of it and making the impact out of it for yourself and others in a positive way. I think that's a great goal.
What about you? I gotta flip it up.
Same.
Flip it up. Okay.
Same.
Cool.
Same exact way. life can be crazy, especially if you have a lot of other hats that you wear per se. Like I work for Okemo and I dog walk and,
Sure.
you know, got a family also as well too, girlfriend, puppy.
Yeah.
And just getting back to the beginning of the episode with Derek Trucks with slowing things down and building it up as you go.
Mm-hmm.
I think that pertains a lot to life. And so the phones stress us out. Jobs sometimes stress us out. Financial security or insecurity can stress us out. Family relations can stress you out. But if you remember in the moment when you're playing a song, and I always think back to my my younger sister who's autistic, nonverbal. I love when she has those random moments at any point throughout the day. She's just got a big smile on her face. And whether it's special needs or whether it's human beings, if an original by Sammy Blanchett or Dustin Marshall or Can't You See by Marshall Tucker Band puts an immense smile on someone's face, that's where you slow down the moment and just be like, good boy, you did it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, man. And back to you as we wrap things up. Any last bit of inspirational advice you want to give the audience or like a shout out that you want to give on this episode?
So I was fortunate enough a couple of weeks ago to join my friend Brian. Shout out to Brian Hodgson. He's a family man, and I work with him on my full-time job. And I was lucky enough to be invited to run a 5K with his kids' running club in preparation of the Chad 5K.
Is that your first time running one?
Well, no, I ran. I do some running. You know, I'm a runner a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I wasn't sure if you've ever done a 5K. But,
no. So he had invited me basically because he said, you know, I'm too out of shape to keep up with some of the faster kids. He goes, so you got to come and run with the faster kids because you know someone's got to be pacing.
Teach them something too, right? Yeah.
And the words of so as I was, you know, showing up there and stretching out with him and all the kids, and he's the coach, and they're all like maybe 9 and 10, and they're gathered around. And it's similar to that Derek Trucks slowing down moment where let's stop, let's think about what we're about to do, let's set a nice base, a nice foundation. He did that. He walked around calmly. He's got about 9 and 10-year-olds that are gathering around. Okay, guys, gather up, gather around. I have 2 things for you that I want out of you today. Attitude. Oh my God, I'm forgetting the other one.
Squirrel.
Effort. He goes, attitude and effort. He goes, that's it. He's like, that's all I'm asking for is a good attitude and good effort. If we do that, we're going to be in good shape. And all the kids were like, yeah, you know. And it just like, it hit me.
Yeah.
It struck me. I'm like, you know what? That is really all it takes sometimes.
You mentioned about being a professional a few minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot in life most of the time is developing consistency. A lot of the times, your performance in the moment may not be the best. But if you start at the very least with showing up and showing that you're there with that consistency. Sometimes consistency is everything in life.
Yeah.
But another big one to take away, I quote one of my bosses on the mountain, Michael Bell. He said last year, I said to him, hey, you're one of the best managers and best communicators like I've ever dealt with. And he goes, buddy, I work for you. So, and that hit to me, like, you know, and he gains so much respect from the people below him when you wear the hat, the title, but he's doing all the other jobs that you're doing as well too to help the end result.
Right.
And he also is a big fan of slowing down the process as well too.
Yeah.
Makes a huge difference.
No, slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
Slow and steady wins the race. Or the other life philosophy saying it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anybody else you want to give a special shout out to?
Ty, you know, thanks for hooking me up with the gigs, and you're probably the reason that I'm able to be on this podcast here.
He's helped me out, yeah.
And dude, thank you.
He's helped all of us out tremendously. The Wheelers VT, yeah.
My wife Carrie, she's like the greatest. The whole family at the compound, and it's been such a wild ride. And you, man, I'm so honored to be here today, get the invite. It's super cool.
And Okemo Valley TV also too for providing this as well too, for providing this platform. And shout out to your 5-year-old puppy too, right?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Corbin Dallas.
Corbin Dallas, yeah. Dustin, you did fabulous today,
Thanks,
man.
bro.
Thank you. Hope to get you back for another episode.
Anytime, dude.
For everybody here at Okemo Valley TV, once again, this is episode number 32 of The Tasty Twist with Sammy B. I'm your host, Sammy Blanchette. Thank you, Okemo Valley TV. Catch you next time. Peace and love. Don't you worry now, my darling. Woo! Hey everybody, thanks for watching this episode of The Tasty Twist with Sammy B. You can watch all the episodes of this podcast on Okemo Valley TV's YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe. You can visit their website, okemovalley.tv, consider downloading their mobile app, or watch them on live television via VTEL, channel 166 and 167, Comcast 1076 and 1086. Are you interested in supporting a local media station? Please consider becoming a member today. Visit okemovalley.tv for more information.